worked through this whole thing, right? That's the expectation. And so now you're just going through it with me. You've moved on to this problem, and it's talking about Jimmy and his job as an Amazon delivery driver after deciding not to go to college for 2 years so that he can save up money and invest. And you've read this whole question. You realize that it's saying that he's going to give 5% of his money to his parents, that he makes 34,125 per year for 2 years. And we need to find out how much he saved after 2 years when we consider his taxes, that 5% he gives, and the money that he's been investing every month, right? So that's a baseline expectation. Done all this work, you're ready to go over it. One of the first things we can do is just to figure out, well, how much is he giving his parents every month? How much is that 5%? So we take his total salary, multiply it times 5%, and we're going to get a result. So I'll let you do that. And you find out that he's making, or he's giving $1,706.25 per year to his parents. So not a ton, but not nothing either. Next thing we can do is look at his tax bracket. He makes $34,000 a year. So the question is, which of these is his tax bracket? Right? Which one of these applies to him? And then we're going to take that information and we'll start to use it. So it's the 12% because 34,000 is between 9,000 and 40. And we need to follow this rule. So we're going to take that amount of money and we're going to need to subtract the 99.50 because that's what the rule says. And so go ahead and do that. You'll get 24,175. From there, you'll need to multiply that by 12% because that's what the rule says. Go ahead and get an answer. And you get 2901. And then what's the last part of the rule? To add 995. And again, what do you get when you do that? Right. 3,896. So that's how much he's paying in taxes. So now we have the amount that he makes and gives to his parents. I mean, the amount that he gives to his parents, the amount that he pays for taxes. The last part is we need to figure out, well, what is that amount that he's been investing every month? And that was an answer to one of the questions from the last video. So the he has this much left over and he's giving 10% of that, which means he's giving or he's investing 8,000, or not 8,000, but $882 and 0.375 cents. So that's the amount that he's investing every single month. And for the sake of this problem, I'm going to keep all of those numbers. Right, so he's investing that every month. So remember, this is asking after 2 years, and we can do this tons of ways. You're welcome to do it whatever way you want. I'm going to start with the salary of 1 year. I'm going to subtract the money he's giving his parents. I'm going to subtract the money he's paying for his taxes. And then I'm going to subtract a year's worth of investing. Right, a year's worth of investing, 12 times 882,375. That'll give me the amount that he saved after 1 year. As always, make sure that you round at the end. I mean, include those digits. All right, so you should have an answer. It's a simple PEMDAS problem. And when you get your answer, you're going to find out that he is saving $17,934.25 per year. And we want to know for 2 years. We got one more step. All right, so we multiply by 2. We found out that Jimmy Jonathan Jonas is saving $35,000, $868.50 per 2 years. For 2 years, he saved that amount. It's pretty good. But look at us, we're back on this page. But when we think about the problem extra carefully, what do we remember? Well, we remember he already had a certain amount of money saved, right? From this first video, he had this amount saved, right? And we've already taken that into consideration when we subtracted out what he's been investing every month. And so not only does he have the money that he's made from his new job, but we also have the money that he saved from his old job from the last problem. And so he's actually got even more money than that. So we need to add these two numbers, and that'll tell us the total amount that's now in his bank account. Guys, the reality is that this is too much money. Jimmy Jonathan Jonas probably should have been investing more money, because in 2 years, he's got $44,500 sitting in his account, making him no interest, making him no money. He is ready for some more investing, or he's ready to buy some real estate. This guy is in a good, super good financial position, right? Compare this to, like, if he had gone to college, even with that scholarship, right? That would have been, what was it, 20, 30, I think $38,000 was the answer to that problem. He would not have had the money without getting this Amazon job to even afford that. He'd be in debt right now. So pretty cool. Now we know that, how much he has in a savings account, but now let's look at, what about this money that he's been investing, right? He's invested a total of 24 times this amount of money, right? That's what he's done. So far, how much money has he put into it? Go ahead and calculate it super fast. I'm going to do it at the same time. So really, you can just watch my screen. 882,375 times 24. So he's put $21,000 into an account, all right, after 2 years. That's how much total he's invested. Let's see what's happened to this money that he's invested, because that's what this next question is. We're going to estimate 9% return. We're going to use this formula to find the first term of the sequence, right? So again, this assumes you've done all this already, and we're just reviewing it, right? That's the point of this video. It's to review these problems, not to do them for the first time without any context, right? So we're reviewing these problems. So we're going to use this formula, we're going to use this information, and we're going to find the first term. I've got everything copied. And what goes for P? Well, it's the amount that this guy is investing, Jimmy Jonathan Jonas, every single month, times 1 plus 9%, divided by 12 months, because it's compounded monthly. And that'll give us the first term. So get that plugged in. Got it plugged in. You're ready to keep cruising. 882,375, 1 plus 0.09 over 12. And that's what I've got here. Same thing, I've typed it in correctly. And I'm going to copy that whole number, because remember, even though, right, this is not an actual dollar amount, when I'm doing these types of calculations, when I need to use this number, right, because this is the first term, we've got to use this number again. That means that we want the entire number. So do not round, right? Do not round. We want to keep that whole number for the next part of the problem. Let's answer that question. What did you get when you plugged in everything? Remember, we found the p-value. Yep, it was 882,375. What's the amount he invests each month? This is the amount that is that you get after each month of interest. All right, so the 882 becomes 888, almost 889, right? Super close to that. Next thing says to find, use this formula to find the amount he has after 2 years. And in fact, I asked that again right here, right? How much does Jimmy Jonathan Jonas have invested over 2 years? How much in total does he have in savings and investment after 2 years? So this will be a quick plug-in. We just need to use this formula. Let's do it. I've got the formula written down on my screen, and we just need to plug everything in. Well, what is A1? Remember, A1 is what we just found. It's the first term. I need to use every one of those digits if I want this to be as accurate as possible. I'm telling you that the rate is 1 plus 0.09 over 12. So that whole thing belongs where you see R. And so I'm going to put parentheses around it so that you recognize that that is the rate. It goes on the top and it goes on the bottom. That's because we always add 1 to the interest rate, and we want our interest rate to be in terms of months because we're investing every month. So we want it to affect every month. Well, in, what is in? We want to know after 2 years. Do I write 2 here? Is that right? Shouldn't be, right? Because it's every month for 2 years. So that's really 24. We put our -1. And all we have to do now is plug it into Desmos so that we can get our result. So that's what you should do now, is plug it into Desmos. And this is just a reminder that if your screen does not look like this, then you don't know how to plug it in, right? That's just being honest with you, right? So I need you to be able to plug it in perfectly. So this matches how this matches, right? It matches exactly. And so since as long as yours matches, then we can keep going, right? And you'll get this as your result. And we can go back and answer that first part of the problem. How much after 2 years? This much after 2 years. And this is where it's finally, you're finally allowed to round, because it's the very end of the problem, right? You're allowed to round at this step. So 23,281, and it just rounds to be 36 cents. That's the first question. Second one just says, how much does he have in total in savings and investments? So we just take that number and we're going to add it to the one that we got before, because that's how much he has in savings. Add those two numbers. What do you get? And honestly, you can see, guys, that this guy who started working, when he was a junior, at just a simple job, and then worked for 2 years after high school, and again, a simple job, has put together some good money for himself. That's a significant amount of money for someone who is now, what would that make him, 20 years old? And obviously, some of these are going to be higher and lower. Like, how much is he paying his parents? He's not really going out on the weekends, right? We didn't take that into consideration. How much money is he spending on the weekends? How much money is he going on dates? Is he hanging out with his buds? What is this guy doing? All right. We didn't take in consideration that. So you can see that expenses are going to significantly lower this number. But if he's shrewd, they don't have to lower it a ton. So 67,000. And we also saw that he could have been investing more money, 1,000 a month, right? Maybe 1,500 a month, pretty easily. And that would have a bigger return, because $23,000 is great.